How's everybody? Good. I have a question. By show of hands, I want each of you to raise your hands if you can answer this question. How many of you have that one friend or family member that you can brag about, that's lit in your eye, that you can clap for, that you're proud of, that every accomplishment that they've had to face, every issue that they've had to face, they have accomplished that goal? Show of hands. I want to see. Wow, that's it. That's a lot of people. Okay. Well, I met a little lady who shared a story with me about her grandson to tell me just about his accomplishment and how proud she was of him. You guys ready?
Yes.
It's a really interesting story, I promise you. It's very encouraging. So with your seat backs and your tray tables up, strap your seatbelt on, let's go. So I met this little lady and she was talking about her grandson. Her grandson was born, in a matter of speaking, as a heavyweight champion of the world. And here's why. When he was born, he weighed in at 11 pounds. 11 pounds, I kid you not. So in an effort to deliver him, on his way out, he got stuck at his shoulders. Because he was 11 pounds, he was very broad shouldered. Couldn't get out. From the neck up, you could see everything out. From the shoulders down, stuck. Could not get out of the birth canal without assistance. That was a little devastating to his family because what do? We didn't know that this child was going to be this big. Here's this 11 pounds. Wow. So in a panic to deliver him, the doctors reached in and snatched him out by his left arm. And by snatching him out, it tore 2 nerves from the spinal cord in his left arm. They were devastated. After he was delivered, they immediately rushed him off to the intensive care nursery where he had to have oxygen. He had to have a little help breathing. He had to have special care in the intensive care nursery for 3 to 4 days. So after the doctors came and talked to his family and told them about what had happened, that they had an issue with getting him delivered because he was so huge, they talked about he probably would never be able to use that arm without a little special care, surgeries, therapies, the like. So after he was released from the hospital, they went home. The very next week, 7 days after his birth, he started physical therapy at Children's Mercy. He had a long road to recovery. Now, the doctors told his family that he was probably not going to be able to use that arm again in a regular capacity, but they could not repair the nerves because they were ripped from his spinal cord. And we all know the spinal cord does everything for us. So if you reroute the nerves, we could get a little more mobility for him. So what they did, they started a plan for him. He was able to have some occupational therapy, some physical therapy to get his arm strong. Now, it would never be able to be used like his right hand and arm, but they did make a plan for him to move forward, to gain some strength, to use his arm as best as he could for the condition that he had. So moving forward, a couple years down the road, he had physical and occupational therapy 2 to 3 times a week for a long time. His grandmother goes on to say how tedious it was and how trying it was for their family because 2 to 3 days a week with a small child and who can't talk, you can't tell if they're in pain. You know how that goes. Children, when they're infants and small time, they don't really tell you how they feel. So you just have to go with it and you do the best thing you know how to do. So she goes on to say that this little boy used to go bowling with his dad on Saturdays. And most boys want to do what daddy does. So he joins the Bumper Bowling League. Now we all know that it only takes one hand to bowl. But since he had such a serious left shoulder injury, his balance was off. It took him a while to gain his balance, like we would just walk around. It took him a while. But by bowling and learning how to bowl, that helped him increase his ability to balance better. So he would go to Bumper Bowling, and she told me that his thing was, all the little toddlers would do They take the ball and they push it down the alley. Because he couldn't, pick it up just yet. So he'd get down there and he'd push it down the alley. And maybe he would have one pin to fall down. But that was the world to him because he took it and pushed the ball as slowly as it went down that alley and it hit one or two pins. He was batting 1,000. He learned how to bowl. He was happy. He was going with his dad. Thought he was the bee's knees because he could bowl and push that ball down that alley. Woo! Moving forward, he started to learn how to skate. He would go with his mother to learn how to roller skate. That's another activity that requires good balance, right? He got good balance from learning how to bowl, and then he's going to roller skate. How good is that? He can do that now. Moving forward from that, she was reminded how he wanted to play football. He got to middle school and wanted to play football. This young man had tenacity. He wanted to play football, but because of his shoulder injury again, he was unable to play football the first time he tried. The doctor said, no upper body contact. That's not going to work right now. We can't do that. He was a little devastated, but the plus to that was maybe next year. So next year rolls around. The doctors finally cleared him to play football. But here's the kick. He could only kick or punt. He could not have, and he could tackle or be tackled. He couldn't do any of that. So he was the best kicker they had because he kicked that ball with such strength and everybody was happy because he was happy. His family remembers sitting on the bleachers at the game on the very edge of their seats like, how's he gonna do this? What's he gonna do? You're sitting in the bleachers like, if he gets tackled, we're gonna run out of the stands and we're gonna be fighting people because they hit him. How? We can't do that. He mastered that game. He gets to high school, same thing. He wanted to play again, he played. His grandmother remembered a time where the coach told her, if all of these boys on this team had the drive and the tenacity that he has, we'd be a Super Bowl team in high school. Because he would show up early to practice, stay late, study the plays to his heart's content. He would not take no for an answer. I'm thinking in my mind as she's telling this story, like, wow, I'm an adult and how would I do that? Would I be able to do that? Would I actually be able to have that much drive to do something even though I'm told I'm not able to do that? I can't use my arm, I can't do this, I can't do that. Can I do that? No, I started to think to myself, no, maybe not. But whoever this little boy is, this young man by this time, I want to get to know him. And here's the thing about it. This little boy has so much drive, so much tenacity, so much determination. Who is this little boy? Where's he at? Let me talk to him. Because maybe I can learn something from that, from my adult self. But you know what? Here's the thing about that little boy. That's my son. My CJ.